Have you ever seen one of those $120,000 entry-level sales roles at some crazy tech company? Or you see people posting on LinkedIn or Reddit or Instagram, TikTok, wherever, about how they have a $300,000 OTE working, selling SaaS, like software somewhere. And it sounds amazing, doesn't it? It sounds unbelievable. But you haven't read the fine print. And a lot of these TikTokers, a lot of these Instagram people are not giving you the full tea when it comes to this OTE that you see on a lot of these sales roles. So I'm going to explain it because they're not going to. Hi, hello, how are you? My name is Alexis. I post every single day here on YouTube about all things travel, transformation, and working in tech. And I've also been in an SDR role for the past 2 years, working at a healthcare technology company. So I have a little bit of experience in what this OTE stuff is. In addition to networking with a bunch of salespeople, I'm in an SDR group chat where we talk about all sorts of stuff. So yeah, let's dive right on into it. So here's the thing. When you see OTE on a job description, 9 times out of 10, it's a sales role that's like either someone like myself who you're reaching out to people trying to get meetings booked, or you're like an account executive who is actually going through the legal and negotiation and technical and all that stuff, or you're in some role that might be like customer success, which would be account management, things like that. And essentially what OTE means is on target earnings, OTE, on target earnings. And what that comprises of is part of that OTE being your base salary, meaning you get paid that no matter what you do, just sitting on your butt, working at the company, you're going to make that much, right? That's your salary. And then the other percentage of it is the commission or like quota carrying part of your role. So for example, for those account executives who are, usually it's like enterprise that are making around $300, $400, even $500,000 and up. Usually what that means is that about 50% of that pay is going to be salary. So if it's a $300 OTE, 150 of that will be base salary. Everything else depends on their performance. So here's the thing. It still might sound good, but the key word is you only get that money if you hit your targets. So here's an example, right? For each of those sales roles, you have a quota. So for myself, it could be something like meetings booked. It could be meetings attended. So times that I've reached out to somebody who might want to buy our product, they agree to a meeting and they actually attend the meeting to talk to my account executive who's going to give them a demo of the meeting or, walk through what their needs are, that sort of thing. It varies a little bit company to company. And then it could be tied to your activity. It could be tied to how many meetings you close. It could be a whole range of things. And it can also be a combination of all those things. Here's what they won't tell you though. Most salespeople don't hit their quota. Month to month, most salespeople don't hit their quota. And in a lot of companies, even when you're interviewing, you'll ask them like, oh, what percentage of your team hit quota in the last 3 months? They're like, oh, 90% of the team hit the quota. Most everybody, maybe one person didn't, and they won't be telling the truth. Okay. So there are a lot of people that I see getting into these tech roles or, getting super excited, about the company, about a whole range of things. It could be the benefits that the company has. It could be the product itself. It could be just the fact that they can say that they're working in tech. But they don't do enough research to know if that like beautiful pay package that they're looking at is actually attainable. And unfortunately, what happens at a lot of companies is either one, You absolutely crush it. You do so well. And then they change your metrics. So it could be like if you book 20 meetings a month, you'll hit your quota, you'll get all of your commission that's paid out during that month, right? Or this is supposed to be paid out during that month. And if you get 30 meetings, then the next month they'll say, oh, you did so well last month that we're going to increase your quota to 30 meetings a month. So now, in order for you to get your minimum pay, you have to hit 30 meetings instead of the previously allotted 20. And there's a couple of like asterisks here. There are accelerators, which basically means that you can hit your minimum goals and get, your regular standard commission. And then anything you get over that could be like 150% of the pay that you would normally get. So for example, for a role like mine, if each meeting you book is worth $100, when you hit your accelerators, they might say, okay, once you hit 20 meetings, after that, each of your meetings is worth $150, $200, $300. That's where the big money comes in sales. But again, you have to know if that minimum number is even attainable. You have to know if anyone on the team is hitting that, because at most companies, they're not. And the way you find that out is a couple of ways. One, there's a website called RepVue. It's good. It's not perfect, but essentially salespeople like myself, usually, I think it's all tech roles actually. People working in tech, in sales roles, will post their quota attainment. They will post how much their salary is. Companies will post if they have job openings, and it's all pretty much anonymous except for like the job openings and like that sort of thing. So I could post a review of my company and say, all of us are hitting quota. This is the best place to work ever. The benefits are great. I'm making this much base salary, and last month I made 200% of what my base was because of, the goals, they're attainable, and it really pushed me to hit all my goals and to make this massive amount of money. Or I could say something like, yeah, you might want to steer clear of this place. Only 2 people in our 20-person team hit quota last month, and our base salaries are below market. It could be a whole lot of stuff. So RepVue, which if I remember, I will put it in either the description or like the first comment. If I don't remember, somebody let me know because I might forget. But if I do remember, or if I don't remember, just let me know. And then the second way, which I think is the better way, is to network with people on LinkedIn, people that currently work for the company and people that used to work at the company who have moved on to other roles. Maybe they've gone to a different company in the same role. Maybe they've gone on to do something completely different. They're not in tech anymore. Those people have nothing to gain from talking bad about their old company. They also have nothing to gain from talking good about their old company. So if you talk to 3 people who used to work in the role that you're looking at, and one of them is like, oh, this was great, like everyone on the team hit metrics, we were getting huge cash payouts, and somebody else on the team is like, yeah, most of us were hitting it, like usually it was pretty attainable, but things kind of changed in the last 3 months. And then somebody else was like, yeah, actually I had a really great time at that company. That tells you a lot about what to expect if you apply and end up getting the job. And obviously, if the opposite is true, and I think I've talked about this in another video, I talked to someone who was working at a company that I was thinking about applying to, and she was like, it's a meat grinder in there. Do not do it. I know one person that was having a good time, and everybody else, like the rest of the team, was miserable. Don't do it. I never applied. I ended up getting my current job, which has been a godsend. It's been a blessing for me so far. So just think, like, going back to the original conversation of like OTE, your base salary is what you're guaranteed. Commission is like a bonus. It's not guaranteed. You don't know if you're going to be getting it. And in order to have a decent idea of whether those goals are attainable, you want to talk to other people at the company. I won't go into detail on that. I have a couple of videos on it. And again, if I remember, I will put them at the end here so that you can watch them. But you really want to find out if they have realistic quotas, because it can look real nice from the outside looking at that $300,000 OTE. It sounds wonderful. It sounds life-changing, but it can also be a horrible job if you don't have the right intel going in. So, yeah, I think that covers it. A lot of these OTs sound great on paper, but you need the real story. So anyway, thought I'd explain that. I feel like I've been seeing a few people who are like break into tech influencers, but they don't give you like the whole truth. They'll be like, I can guarantee you a $100,000 job, but the actual job pays 60,000 like commission, or 60,000 salary and 40K commission, and you don't know if the 40K is going to happen. And they don't talk about that, like talk to people at the company, network, figure out if that's actual money that you're going to get paid, you know? So I want to talk about that real quick. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you don't know, my name is Alexis. I post every single day here on YouTube about all things travel, transformation, and working in tech. So if any of those things are interesting to you, please feel free to subscribe. Also check out my Tech Tea playlist. It's where I talk all things actually working in tech and what it's like, not the like influencery stuff, but like the actual day-to-day working in tech, how to read these job descriptions, and there's a few other videos coming. So yeah, feel free to subscribe, join the fam, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.